Everybody, welcome to the USA Library's Art Gallery's Art Talk this week. And this week's artist is Chasely Matmanivong. Matmanivong. I knew I was going to mess it up, Chasely. I'm so sorry. I knew I was going to
Okay.
do it. I tried, but she'll fix it for us. She's awesome. Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Chasely.
Well, I'm Chasely Matmanivong. I am just graduated college last summer, my undergrad, trying to get into grad school, but currently, living at home, kind of sort of have a job, just a normal person who loves art still, wants to get my graduate degree, my master's, and just, living life in the pandemic, doing my art, working, normal person.
Mhm. Well, that's cool. It's good that you're progressing and you're doing things and moving forward. There's so many times that during the pandemic, a lot of people just quit doing things, but you obviously found a way to make things happen because you have produced some amazing pieces. So, what's some of the things that you have learned being an artist in the pandemic?
Um, I really have a lot of time on my hands. I mean, I work. I work 40 plus hours a week, but I still have time to go and um, paint and go do art things. Most of the time I'll do all my sketches at night when I'm relaxing, and then whenever I have time during the day, I'll go to my little studio and go paint for a couple hours. So it's really time management, honestly. And with the pandemic, you have a lot more time on your hands than you used to.
Emma, why don't you ask her a few questions?
So how has the pandemic affected your artwork? Like, has it inspired you or uninspired you? How have you moved through?
The pandemic really hasn't affected my art a lot. I've always had a idea in mind of what I want to do, what I want to paint, what my brand would look like, what my paintings would look like, and the pandemic has just, like I said, given me more time to do what I love. So not really affected it yet. And if if the pandemic continues, which I feel like we're gonna have the same year kind of as last year. Um, I might do a few pieces in the future about what's going on now, what's going on personally with me with the pandemic. So,
Okay. Um, so what have you worked on this year?
so at the beginning of the year, which wasn't too long ago, I told myself that I wanted to do a zodiac project, which you'll see when we go through some of the paintings. And I really wanted to do a year-long project, just to keep me busy, a little extra paintings to do along with my usual things. And I just feel like every artist has a zodiac project, and I really wanted to do one with what I do. So I told myself, all right, every zodiac period, I'll do the different zodiacs. I just finished Aries, so
Mm-hmm.
just doing a zodiac project, and just keep trucking on what I do, what I love.
Awesome. All right. So
I'm
beyond the
sharing. I'm
zodiac,
sharing the feed with Judson people, so that's why Emma's asking you questions right now. I'm making sure we get plenty of people to participate.
Say
so beyond the zodiac, what are some of your other constant inspirations?
that again. I'm sorry.
Oh, beyond the zodiac, what are some of your constant inspirations?
So my what I really like to do is embody the plus size figure. I'm plus size, and I feel like plus size women don't get a lot of, publicity. People just want a nice Hollywood picture perfect woman, and here's us plus size women, and we don't get a lot of publicity out. And I just want to show that plus size women are beautiful as well, and we're out there, we're beautiful. We don't have to be Hollywood picture perfect, and so that's really what my pieces are about.
Okay. I brought up one of your pieces. What is this one?
So this one's the Dreaming Venus, and I was also an English major in college, and poetry is one of my big things I liked when I was in my literature classes. And this poem was by Amy Lowell, the inspiration, and it was The Captured Goddess. And I kind of wanted to play off of the lines on here, and so we have the Venus, or a goddess, that, you know, she's up in the sky. In the poem, at the end, you see the speaker is talking about how they see this goddess being chained up by men, not being able to fly. And in that poem, it has the goddess's nature, and that man has built all this technology, all this infrastructure around nature, and it's closing it in. And so I really wanted to base it off of, here's the goddess and she's been chained up, but she's still beautiful and lovely, and she's just dreaming about being escaping from these chains of man or infrastructure, however you would want to interpret that poem. And she's kind of, you can see that she's plus size, like I said before. She has the stretch marks, which is one of my main features in a lot of my pieces now. And Judson, you know, Miss Paula will know that we had a few restrictions, so I couldn't do things like this at Judson. So finally, since I've graduated, I'm able to express a little bit more what I want to do. And so having a more nude body, still very abstract from the first time I was on here, kind of trying to celebrate all women by not having a true face on there. I'm really getting a lot better with skin tones as well. As we progress through these pictures, you'll see I've gotten a little bit better at skin tones, and hopefully here soon I'll be able to do darker skin tones for my darker friends. But yeah, so the stretch marks are a huge piece of my work now, and the plus size one, but that's about this picture, this painting.
Okay. Very, very cool. Now I have some other ones. Let me bring those up. Let's see. Let me go back this way. I'll get in the order. Now this one, what can you tell me about this one?
Oh, so this one's called Unmasked, and this is a part of kind of my series 2 from my senior show, which was This Is What Heartbreak Feels Like. And so this is a part of the series. This is what growth looks like. And again, I get to do more, you know, full-figured women. She's obviously nude, still very abstract, but my second series is about me and how I've grown past what my first series was about. Obviously, she's a little amateur to me now that I look at her a lot more. She's a little bit more amateur. The skin tone's a little more amateur, but here I use a fox mask, which is in Japanese culture. Foxes are able to shapeshift. And in the description for this picture, excuse me, I said that, you know, women want to transform themselves pretty much into this Hollywood, you know, picture perfect. And here I'm unmasking myself, or anybody's unmasking themselves. You know, hey, I don't have to be picture perfect. I can be who I want to be. And that's what this one's really about. And this was one of the first ones I did post-graduation. I think I had been here in Texas for maybe a couple months. I'd finally gotten my studio finished and set up, and so I just wanted to get to work and get some painting done.
And then this one?
This one, I think you'll probably see Wednesday or Thursday on the website. This one's Pisces. This is a part of my Zodiac project. She just got finished and dried. I think I took a picture for you for this one a couple days ago, actually. She just finally dried up. But this is just a part of my Zodiac series. This is Pisces. And again, a lot of my figures are plus size. You'll see a lot of these paintings are kind of in the sky, kind of showing kind of the stars. They're in the sky and the stars. And I just wanted to showcase, you know, plus size women and as goddesses, pretty much.
You had said that it was drawing. So what is the medium that you use?
So all of my pieces are oil painting.
Why do you choose oil?
Just because I like how pliable. I mean, you can make it as thick as an acrylic. You can make it as watered down as a watercolor, or you can have a happy little medium. To me, oil painting oil paints are honestly the easier of all three to me. Just to me. Yes, they take a longer time to dry, but you can apply as much as you want, as thick as you want. It might take a month or so to dry, but it's just one of my favorite. It's a favorite medium of mine. When I did a painting class in college, we did oil paints, and I instantly fell in love. I gave up my graphic design degree to go with a studio degree, and I picked oil painting because it was one of my favorites.
Okay, so why did it become a favorite? How did you get there to being a favorite?
It probably was the projects we got to do, but when I realized just how pliable oil paint is, because I would experiment on projects. Like I said, I'd put as thick as I wanted to. I'd thin it down with paint thinner as much as I could. And I just played with oil paints during my undergrad years, and I just fell in love with it. I was just like, this is what I want to do.
Okay. Very, very
Cool.
cool.
I know this might be a little off topic, but what kind of fish is that you painted, or is it more of a conceptual idea of a fish?
No, so they're beta fish. They're one of my favorites as
I
well,
was
and
wondering if
so.
they were betas.
Mhm.
Okay. No, I love them. They're so pretty. I love all the
And
color you use.
if you ever saw this painting in person, the scales on the fish are actually 3D in a sense. Like I put them on very thick, so it has a texture to it.
That's why it took so long to dry, I bet.
Yes.
Cool. Right. And then here's this one.
Right. So this one's Capricorn. This is my sign. And this was the very first one I did. Like I said, I started at the beginning of the year. So I started in January. This one probably took me a little bit longer just because I wanted to play with it a little. The scales on the tail and on the body are the textured parts of it. This one took maybe a month to dry. But so yes, this is the Capricorn one. And all the skies on here you'll see are almost the same. I've been playing with clouds as well. If you were here for the first show I did with Miss Paula, you'll see that a lot of my clouds are different in them than here. So I've just been playing around with the clouds.
Yeah, I can definitely tell done an improvement, but just different layout.
I definitely think it's an improvement from before.
Oh, okay.
I love these.
I can tell they look great. They're really cool. And then how's it wrapped about? Is this the constellation wrapped on the horn?
Yeah, so I wanted to kind of play around with the constellations. I think this one and one more have the constellation in it. I just wanted to play around to just exhibit every part of the zodiac as I can. So obviously you can see on her chest is the zodiac sign, and then on her forehead is the planet sign, and then obviously on the horn it's the constellation, and then I tried to do some things that would depict the zodiac. So with Capricorn, you have the sea goat, and obviously we have the tail, and we have the horns.
Mm-hmm.
And then again, trying to showcase plus size women is the stretch marks on the breast, on the stomach, a little bit broader of a shoulder.
Mm-hmm. Very cool.
So when applying three-dimensional, like the scales, what are some of the challenges with making sure it comes out the way you want it to? Because when you enter the 3D territory, it's obviously a whole different ballgame.
It's just really how you apply it, where you apply it. You really have to think about things like dry time. Is it going to smudge? So with the scales, I just lay it on thick pretty much with I use palette knife for the scales. And so, just get the color on the back of the palette knife and then just lay it down like scales, how scales would look. And, I would mix colors together or have two colors side by side, get it on the palette knife and put it down just so I can color variation and things like that. But the hardest thing to do is don't touch it because it's not dry. It looks dry, but it's not. And honestly, the Capricorn one probably still isn't dry underneath because oil paint will dry a layer on top and everything underneath will still be wet. So she's probably, even though I did it in January, she's probably still not completely dry.
Okay.
So she's leaned up. She's probably on top of all of my paintings. She is on top of all my paintings just because I don't want to smush those scales and them accidentally burst open.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Wow. Okay. And then there's one other piece.
And so this is Aquarius. On here, you see the planet sign on her forehead again, the zodiac sign on her chest, and then we have the constellation on the jar. And this is probably the most, I'd say, memorable thing about Aquarius, and a lot of pictures you might see, is that they always have the jar with the water coming out. And the 3 element on this one is the water coming out of the jar or the basin. And then just to ground her, I put her into a pool of water. And again, she's in the sky, like all of them will be. And a lot of them, I try to find some references of different body positions, and then just thinking about the plus size woman, where her rolls will be, where her stretch marks would be, just to display different ways that a plus size woman would look, and just really just showcasing how beautiful we are. I mean, plus size women are very beautiful, just as a woman who is, skinnier, more athletic built, things like that.
I've noticed a lot of the poses are like sitting or kind of reclining. Now, is that like a reference to how most like Renaissance or classic paintings have the women lying down or reclining and posing like that?
Yeah, so Renaissance, when we studied it in art history, was probably one of my favorites. Renaissance, Baroque, they sexualized the women kind of by having them laying down and things like that. And I really like those types of paintings. And I do enjoy having the women sitting down or kneeling and just being in a more seated pose.
Very cool. Cool. So, okay, so I see the pieces and the things and where your creativity is going, but what are the artists that inspire you most? Like,
I follow a lot of artists on social media, so like Instagram is probably my easiest one that I follow a lot of artists on. I wouldn't say I have a favorite.
What's one of them that you follow on Instagram?
And Suse, S-U-E, and her last name's T-S-A-I.
Say that again?
Suse. Oh, her first name S-U-E, and her last name T-S-A-I, I believe. But she has a lot of meaning behind her paintings. I believe she's also an oil painter. I could be wrong. She could be an acrylic, but a lot of her pieces, she's created them into 3D designs. She has a collaboration with Adidas. She's just done a lot of things with her paintings, and she's very successful. And she's also an Asian artist like myself, and with everything going on, and I love following Asian artists just to kind of build up the community and help me venture out to see other people who are ethnically like me. So she's one of my favorites, and she was probably one of the first artists that I followed when I started my classes in undergrad.
Okay. Is she from Thailand or?
I can't quite remember. She's either Thai or Japanese. I can't really remember.
Okay. Very cool. Looks like Thailand in her pictures.
But she's extremely successful. Like I said, she has a collaboration with Adidas. She's done a lot of merchandise with them. She just came out with some 3D sculptures of her paintings. So, you know, I follow her and I use her as inspiration to hopefully one day I can be as successful as her.
Mm-hmm. That's definitely. Okay. Now, how do you stay up with the latest trends? Is it just by following hers, or other resources, or other places you go to stay up on any trends or things, or to help develop new ideas?
Um, you know, I like to keep my ideas very original. You know, I would say that, you know, news or just latest trends do definitely um, help me inspire me for my work. Like I said, I try to do plus size women not only because I'm plus size,
Mm-hmm.
also plus size women are coming up into the media. We have Ashley Graham; she's a plus size model, and she's really helped plus size women get out there and us not be shamed because we're bigger and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
You were talking earlier about how you found your brand and you feel comfortable with it and your style of art. How did you come to that? Because I know a lot of artists, including myself, find it hard to find a particular style and make it their own.
Um, I think it's just more of who I am. Like I'm extremely independent. You know, you can criticize me and I'll be okay with it. And but most of the time, you know, you'll criticize my work and not to be harsh, but I'll be like, I don't care. You know, this is me. This is who I want to be. This is what I want to put out. And if you don't like it, you know, you don't have to look at it. You can just go to the next person. Or, um, you know, I'm not gonna change myself or my art just because you don't like it or you don't think it's appealing. You don't think that it's something that I should put out into the public. You know, this is me. This is what I'm gonna do.
Very cool. Do you use any type of technology to help you with your art? Do you sketch it out on a pad or tablet first? What tools do you use along those lines?
Um, the only technology I'd use is the computer, Pinterest, really, to help me with some references like poses. Sometimes I'll use the internet just to help me with some color variations. If I feel like I've done the same color over and over again, I like to use the computer and get some different color variations. I like going to Pantone and helping me find new
Mhm.
colors, and I'll experiment. But for the most part, I use just regular old paper, charcoal pencil, and I'll get to sketching. I probably have 3 sketchbooks that I've gone through to help me sketch out different poses, and I'll sketch out something and be like, okay, this is what it's going to be. And then I'll get to my studio, and I'll be like, no, we're going to change some things up. Um, but that's the usual artist thing. Usually you do a couple thumbnails and then you pick which one you like, and then you end up before you start not liking it, so you redo it. But just really paper and pencil for my sketches. I don't use any technology besides for my references.
Okay. So you've described a little bit of your process. Can you go into a little bit more detail? Like, where's the kernel of the idea, and then how do you take it, kernel, that piece of idea, and how do you develop it into a painting? What gets you from that point to the next?
Um, lately I've been real, you know, I'm trying to do my second series, trying to finish it up. I have a couple paintings going in it, which is going to be called "This is what growth looks like." And you know, I've been trying to think of personal things and what have happened to me, what have I done to help grow from my first series. And then, you know, ideas just pop in my head. I'll start writing things down. I'm a huge list person. I'll write lists down of what I want to do, what I want to accomplish, what I want it to look like. And then I'll go to Pinterest, or I'll think of poses myself and sketch them out, and then start writing down, okay, what colors is it gonna look like? What's the background gonna look like? How's your skin gonna look like? You know, what extra things am I gonna put in there to try and showcase what I'm trying to paint and show
Mhm.
from my head. And then just going sketching it out. Sometimes I'll go ahead and make color palettes. I'll get another piece of my paper out of my sketchbook and start making colors and doing swatches. Okay, this is what this is going to look like. This is what this is going to look like. This is where this is going to go. I'll write down where it's going to go on the canvas. And then, think about it on a couple of days. If I have to work, I'll obviously have to go to work. But it's always in the back of my head, okay, this is what I'm going to do when I get to my studio. Then I just get to my studio and start sketching it out on the canvas. I use loose charcoal, willow charcoal on my canvases to sketch everything out. And then just get my colors ready of what I'm going to do that day. Because with oil paint, sometimes if you lay it on too thick or you have too much paint thinner, they'll muddle really bad. So I'll have to think about, all right, am I going to do the body first, the background first? Am I going to do both together that day? Is it okay that I'm muddling the background and body together? And then I'll have to wait a couple days for that to dry, then come back and do the details. So that's just really my process. Like I said, I like to plan things out. I have lists. I have due dates for myself, even though I'm not doing something for somebody. I'll put due dates on myself just to say, okay, you need to finish this one. This is when you need to start this one. So.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Thank you for sharing that. We appreciate it. Okay, let's see. How do you advise people to get started?
To get started, I would say for myself, I just, if I have a passion for something, find your passion. What do you wanna paint or draw or whatever your medium is? What lights a fire under you that you're really passionate about? And obviously mine is displaying the beauty of plus size women, and how beautiful, and they're just as like goddesses as other women. So just find your passion, get it, what burns in your heart, and gets you going, and so that passion will stay burning for a long time, and then you can get it out.
Emma, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, so now that we've talked about what inspires you and motivates you, what do you do when you have artist block or something's not turning out quite the way you want it and you're getting frustrated or something? How do you keep pushing forward, or do you stop a piece and try something else?
I've definitely stopped pieces before and had to turn them around for a long time. I had one piece that I really didn't like for a while, and I just had to turn it around and say, okay, I'll just start it all over, or, just not even think about it and start another project. And then when I feel ready, or if I have nothing else really to do, I'll just be like, okay, I think it's time that I need to turn this back around. And most of the time, if I have artist block or I'm in the middle of a painting and I'm just like, I'm not really feeling it, I'll start over. Like, I'll just paint with oil painting, which is great that once it dries, you can paint right over it and you won't even see what's underneath. So yeah, with artist block, I'll just, give it a few days. Sometimes I'll even give it months and just start all over.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Now, what has been a highlight in your career so far?
I guess the most recent highlight is graduating college. Graduating undergrad last July was a big milestone for me. I just sold my last piece for my senior show
Cool.
last month, actually, and I call him my patron. So I met this guy here when I was doing door dashing, and we just started talking. It was my last delivery during the pandemic. In the middle of pandemic, I was door dashing just to make some money to help out around the house, and I told myself, all right, this is my last delivery. He was out on his porch with his dog, and I was like, okay, I can't resist the dog. I'm going to ask him if I can pet the dog. And then, he was still out there. I was finished with work, and I was like, I'm going to talk to him. And so we just started talking. He asked me what I was doing. And at that time, I was during spring break, I think. And at Judson, we decided to do all online. So I was doing online classes. I was here in Texas. And I was telling him, you know, I'm an art major, and he wanted to see some of my pieces because he was kind of a collector.
Wow.
And he was like, okay, well, I want this, this, and this, and this. Here's half the money when you come back. Please deliver it. And so I've kind of created this friendship, and I call him my art patron because he's bought,
Mhm.
I think, 4 or 5 of my pieces. And
Wow.
he just bought the last piece for my senior show. So I've been really grateful that I've been able to have a friendship with this man. And, you know, he's older, he's lived his life a little bit. And so we really connect really well because he'll tell me stories, I'll tell him stories. So I think that's probably my biggest milestone lately is that I've been able to sell my pieces. I found a patron, which is, you know, kind of hard sometimes because a lot of people, you know, don't really have the money or don't want to spend that type of money on paintings. And, you know, he's bought, I think the largest one is a $1,500 painting.
Wow.
And that's, you know, for me, that's really huge
Mhm.
because, you know, I've never sold something that large amount of money.
Mhm.
So, you know, he's bought paintings from my senior show. He's bought paintings from post graduation. And, you know, he says, you know, just keep them coming. You know,
Mhm.
there's something I'm going to like. And he has them all hung up in his house. And he's told his friends about it. It's a huge, you know,
Mhm.
a huge, like, conversation starter at his home when he has get together. So I think that's one of my biggest milestones right now.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Okay, so with everything that's really great, sometimes things are not so great. So what's some of the least favorite things or your least favorite project?
Least favorite project. I think I had one, and she's turned around because I really don't like her. Uh, I had a really good, what's the word? A really good idea in my head, and I got it on the canvas. I finished her, and I was like, this is not what I wanted. And she's posted on my social media, I think.
Mhm.
I can't think on the top of my head what the name is, but yeah, I think that's one of the more bad projects that I've done that I don't really enjoy. But for the most part, I don't really have a least favorite besides that one. You know, most of
Okay.
my projects I really enjoy, and if something bad happens or something I don't like I told Emma that I'll just turn it around for a little while and then come right back to it. I really don't like things unfinished, so.
Okay. Okay. So if somebody needs to get in touch with you or is interested in purchasing any of your pieces or wants to do a commission or something like that, how can they reach you?
So I have a Facebook. Just search up my name, Chasely Matmanivong. Um, you can contact me on there. I have a art page on Instagram. It's arts.by.her.
Mhm.
And then I have an email, chasely98@gmail.com, if you want to email me. And once you email me or message me, if it's easier for you to call or text, you know, I can always give my number out that way.
Mhm. I'm bringing up your Facebook page right now. Let's
And I
see.
don't have an art Facebook page. It's just my personal. So I
Oh, well, then I
apologize
won't
for
do
that.
that.
But
I won't do that then. I'll leave it be. You need an art Facebook page.
I know.
There's a lot of people there with money. So that would
Yeah,
be a good
I'll
idea.
probably put that on my to-do list. Facebook art page.
Yes. Hootsuite's a really good software to share, and they have a free feature for like 2 or 3 pages. So you might want to get a Hootsuite account. It's HOOTSUITE, and that way you can post to Instagram and to Facebook and to all your things at the same time.
Okay.
Yeah, that would be useful because I know you're time conscious because you're trying to do art and you're trying to do work and you're doing all of these things. I completely understand it. That would be a useful tool. Okay. Before we're done, I always ask one final question. And if you had a piece of advice to give to a student at the University of South Alabama, what would you tell them?
Uh, Let me think. I have to think about what I said last time because I don't want to say the same thing.
I think you've
I
gotten
think,
older. So you've gotten older and more mature, and you're a
mhm,
year away from graduation now. So I think it's going to be profound.
yeah. I think last time I talked about use your time wisely. So I think this time I'll talk about really do what you love. Like find your passion, find what, lights that fire in your body. And don't let anybody tell you you can't do it, because I love Judson. I
Mhm.
love Judson. I would go back there in a heartbeat, but I couldn't do a lot of things just because we were kind of, we had
Mhm.
a lot of rules there. But I still did what I loved. I might have gotten in trouble a couple times, but I still did what I loved, and just don't let anybody tell you no.
Mhm.
Um, if you have ideas, if you want to talk about political things, if you want to art about just any of those things that are really hard to talk about, do it,
Mhm.
because that's what I'm kind of doing. Is that I'm doing plus size women, and a lot of people don't like that, but I don't really care. And sometimes that's what your mindset has to be. I mean, this is art, and
Mhm.
to me, art is history. Like we do art, I think showcases history the best way, in my opinion. And that's what you're doing. You're creating history, especially if you're doing things that are controversial.
Mhm.
So do what you love, find that thing that lights a fire in your body, and keep on doing it. And if it ever burns out, just find something new. And it might be hard, but you know, once you start doing it, it gets easier.
Mhm. Very cool. Well, thank you so much. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being our artist of the week.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for the art talk. And that's it, guys. Thank you for joining us and have a wonderful day.